Hi everybody, it's Paul again from Ballistic Blood Bullets, here with day 26 of the 30 Day of Horror Challenge. And today's question we are asked is, name a horror movie for a chicken. And I guess by that we're looking at a film that is a horror film that we would recommend to people that were a little bit nervous, shall we say, about watching horror films. Or we can take it in the literal sense as to recommending a film for a chicken. And that sounds like finger-licking good business to me, so I thought I'd combine the two, and have actually got a film in the collection which is to do with the chicken, believe it or not, but it's also a film that I would say isn't going to upset anybody as far as watching a horror film is concerned. Very light-hearted horror comedy parody, Chicken Park. Everybody's now thinking, what the heck is he on today? Well, it's here, it's an actual release, and it's, as you can probably tell, it's a bit of a spoof on Jurassic Park. It is a genuine film. It's made in about 1994, but wasn't actually released until 1996, and probably no real surprise because the quality of the production isn't perhaps all that it could have been. It's a late entry into the sort of Italian horror sort of genre, believe it or not. The connection really, for me, and the reason for picking it up, less so because it's a sort of silly parody, the connection for me is because the special effects were done by one of my icons of Italian cinema, and that's director, producer, special effects guy, Antonio Margheriti, who hopefully is somebody that is known to most people. He is also known to the sort of Americans and most of Europe, I guess, during the 80s particularly, for his action movies, predominantly through the 1980s, when he made a lot of jungle action movies with the likes of Lee Van Cleef, Ernest Borgnine, Lewis Collins, and the likes of Klaus Kinski, and perhaps most famous of his films during the 80s is the films he made with David Warbeck, films like The Last Hunter, and perhaps even more famous is You're the Hunter from the Future, starring the one and only Reb Brown. But as I say, he was called on board by the director of Chicken Park, who's a guy called Jerry Kahler, not a name that's probably going to be known to people and instantly forgettable, and this may well be his only film. I'll have to check on that. But Jerry Kahler quite astutely called upon Antonio Margheriti to do the special effects, and if anything is worth watching about this film, it is the special effects, which Antonio Margheriti, as always, is excellent with miniatures. Whenever you watch these action films through the 80s predominantly, any blown up bridge or dam or cars exploding and planes crashing is pretty much down to the handiwork of Antonio Margheriti, or in more later days with his son, who's also a filmmaker, Edoardo Margheriti, who's also exceptional at doing the special effects and miniatures, both terrific. People in that department, they're very, very adept at dealing with the special effects and miniatures, as I say. Margheriti also dealt with some very, very cool people and stars of the days during the 60s and 70s. He worked with the likes of Christopher Lee and Fred Williamson during the 70s in a western or two, and also did some of the thrillers and giallos, and worked with people like Lee Majors, of course best known as the $6 Million Man. But anyway, that's more of a background to do with Antonio Margheriti, who I'm happy to talk about for quite some time, and we can do that in later videos, but this one is to do with day 26 of the Horror Challenge, and to name our horror movie for a chicken, and this is the film that I will happily put forward. It's Chicken Park. As I say, quite an obscure one, and we've got our Australian friends to thank for the release of this obscurity. I don't think it's released anywhere else in the world, and I think it's pretty rare to actually come by. Now, that's not a recommendation by me to rush out and get the film, but it's certainly a film that definitely fits into the criteria in more ways than one of a film that is a movie recommendation, or sorry, not recommendation, far from a recommendation, a movie that fits into the category of the question asked of us today, a horror movie for a chicken, and that is Chicken Finger Licking Park. Whatever the herbs and spices are that went into this special production, they can keep secret for many a year to come. But anyway, that's my suggestion today for day 26 of the 30 Day of Horror Challenge. Just a few more days to go, but looking forward to those days and getting some more good news and views and films, recommendations, etc. from everybody else who's been a part of this pretty good journey that we've been undertaking for the last 30 days. Thanks very much indeed for watching, guys. As always, really appreciate it. Take care. Bye for now.